Mexico, MLB's chief player campaigner for the Hall of Fame. We are extremely proud of this year's inductees. That being said, we look forward to next year's Call to the Hall, right? Okay, now our first proposed candidate, Mario Mendoza. Mendoza became legendary and prompted the baseball statistic, the Mendoza line, which denotes a 200 batting average. Finishing his career with a 215 average, Mendoza shattered all expectations. Now, the next guy, really a no-brainer. Though he only played in the minors, Michael Air Jordan led all minor and Major League Baseball players with 32,292 freaking points, and he led the cast of Space Jam with 3 home runs. Get him in the Hall! Oh, and finally, last but not least, Bob Uecker. I mean, come on, I'll give you 7 words. He was the dad of Mr. Belvedere. Come on, baseball writers, get it right. Don't make greatness wait. Speaking of greatness, we're in Training the Box Score, and it starts right now.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple: C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Coward for Box Score.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles, joined by the Danettes in Milford, Connecticut. We're down one Danette, Fritzy off today. I'm sure he's at the receiving end of a stethoscope sitting on some doctor's butcher paper. Well, Major League Baseball announced their Hall of Fame class. They've got Pedro Martinez, John Smoltz, Randy Johnson, and of course, Craig Biggio. Seton, your wife's a Red Sox fan. Is she pretty stoked to see Pedro getting in?
Yeah, she was more questioning why Schill isn't in.
Classic.
She was, but no, she was happy. She was happy that the Seton Hall guy got into. So she's not just sort of a one-way street, Craig Biggio.
She was happy that Seton Hall guy got in?
Yeah, I mentioned it to her.
Yeah, I'm sure she was thrilled.
That's good. Yeah, that's nice.
That bloody sock.
Really.
How about this, Paulie? Do you think this steroid thing is going to linger over the voting for quite a while?
Yeah, because more so now, because now you have first ballot guys like Randy Johnson in, John Smoltz in, Biggio's in. There's a couple guys who are not that big of a question mark. Ken Griffey's going in next year. Now you're going to have this limbo group of guys like Clemens, even A-Rod coming up. Jeter's going to be first ballot. There's no talk with him. It's just he's going on in. So these guys are going to sit there in limbo. What's going to be really interesting is next year if Mike Piazza goes in. Does that open the floodgates, or is that like a one-timer?
It's interesting. You think we'll be talking about this topic till the show ends? Like,
Sure.
We're never making anything.
There's no way they're ever going to make an actual decision about, okay, we're never putting these guys in, or we are putting these guys in. It feels like it's going to be an endless topic.
Dan mentioned today, why not have a rule? If you didn't test during your playing time, then you're fine.
But then about a guy like Bonds, where they didn't test for a good chunk of his, but they did test for the last 4 years.
Right.
When he was, bombing.
Right.
Well, like test positive.
Yeah, Dan said test positive. You don't have a positive test.
Right.
Right, but what if they institute a rule? If you test positive, you can never be in a Hall of Fame. What if you're a rookie and your first week you test positive?
Yeah.
And then you never test positive again?
Unfortunately, you started cheating in your very first year.
Yeah.
So you're out.
And I don't know if that rule grandfathered, but that's another offshoot. Like McLovin said, there's 100 different angles, tentacles to the story. It's going to be like Groundhog Day every year.
Do we ever talk about baseball in any other topic? If it's not a steroid issue, have we ever talk?
But that's the thing where, there's the game, the team wins or the team loses. There's not really an opinion of a team. The San Francisco Giants, they win or they lose. But Clemens, I could do an hour on Clemens right here with you guys, and we wouldn't know. We wouldn't finish. We would never solve it.
Can I just say one thing that's been about Clemens? Dan keeps saying Clemens would not get into the Hall of Fame as a Red Sox. We're getting a lot of email contesting that. He's saying that as if it's a fait accompli.
He fell off in Toronto. He was pretty good with the Red Sox the first time.
But 5 great years. He had 5 unreal years with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
And then he dipped and then had a resurgence in Toronto. Then he had 8 more great years.
Yeah, I would argue he was in already.
I kind of felt that way too, and I was surprised at things.
Yeah, but it's a good argument. I mean, he could certainly be right. I don't know.
Well, the very deserving John Smoltz called in today and said the possibility of players being on performance enhancers never entered his mind while he was playing.
I think the worst crime would be if you are convicted and you're not even close. Like if the rumors are surrounding you for one way or the other, you don't get that back. You don't get your credibility, character back, and that's the one thing that even in the time frame that we did it, and Glavin and Maddox and myself, and it was such a honor to do it the way we did, and then in the midst of, I never was once on the field going, this guy's this way or this guy's. I never did that. Never
but you and Glavine and Maddox never sat there in the bullpen and discussed steroids during a game, watching guys.
Never once.
Never once.
No.
I find that amazing.
That seems so incredible or unbelievable to me that they never, they didn't notice guys all of a sudden pack on an extra 40 pounds and start just knocking.
That'd be like you and I sitting next to each other, and tomorrow you come in with jet black hair, and I say, I never once thought that Seton dyed his hair. Well, of course I thought it. It doesn't change the way I do my job or anything like that.
You dye your hair?
If I even if I all of a sudden over the course of say like a summer or something like that, right? Came back and I was 30 pounds heavier. You guys wouldn't notice?
It was last summer.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe this actually has happened.
I don't know.
You guys haven't noticed that I've gotten.
I think we were talking about the muscular, 30 pounds.
But, okay, either way, it's still noticeable though. And these dudes, they're pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me that he can remember, that 3-2 count in 1992 that whatever somebody put out.
That's true.
But he didn't notice that, wow, Barry Bonds looks different.
I totally agree with you. I think it's one of those things where he's almost lying to himself, where he's saying, I was so focused on my job that I wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yes, as you're going like this, you're probably going, man, that guy is huge. Yeah. But overall, when you see 73 home runs for a guy who used to hit 33, you cannot not think about it because you actually have to face him. Right. I may not think about it because I have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, he's got a head the size of a cage ball. You guys also spent some time talking with NBA D-League Kentucky head coach John Calipari, and that's when the boss's competitive side came out.
We had a shooting contest, me against you.
Oh, I got you. Even though you're not bad, you're in better shape. I had both hips replaced.
Oh, blah, blah,
I
blah.
couldn't play you one-on-one running, but you can't shoot with me.
Well, how
how
deep do you want to go?
Because of my hips replaced, you're a little better athlete now. Never ever in your life were you a better athlete, but right now you are.
I would make you one and done with me. I would make you cry. Because I would shoot right in front of your team, and then they would be laughing hysterically.
They'd be laughing because of Dunlap. Your belly Dunlapped over your belt. That's what they'd be laughing at.
I don't think you've seen me without my shirt on in a while, Coach. It's been a couple of years since you've seen me without my shirt on. I'm ripped.
You got a six-pack, I imagine, but it's not the one you're
I got a 12-pack if we're talking about that.
Now, Coach has a point that Dan's not in the shape that he used to be as far as like strength and power, but he's the thinnest I've ever seen Dan. Believe me, he's not fat in any way. I'll put a week's pay on Dan if Coach Cal wants to put, or anyone around Kentucky, Jeff Shepard or one of the boys, Helfrey or one of the boys wants to put a week's pay on. I'll put a week's pay on Dan from I wouldn't say the free throw line. I'd say let's put it 15 feet. And get Coach Cal going. And Coach, you're gonna lose.
That's one of the funny things, though. These unathletic-looking coaches, like if you Google them, they're like, oh, he started at some Division II college.
But I would never confuse athleticism with shooting.
Yeah.
That's the thing you never do because Steve Alford is not in shape. I've seen Steve Alford. He's puffy, and that puffy guy will take your lunch money.
You know who could ball? Jeff Van Gundy.
Sure.
He looks like it's the unathletic guys that scare you. Those are the guys who steal your money at that. But Dan. I was surprised that Coach Cal would. I thought Coach Cal was going to admit Dan was a better shooter. I honestly did.
Coach Cal, let me tell you something. Coach Cal has not admitted anything his entire career. Okay. He's not going to start today by giving up to Dan. He's based his entire career, let's not kid each other, on not admitting anything. So, come on, that's Coach Cal in a nutshell.
Very good point. Very good.
McLovin, you're deceptively athletic. Do you think you could take Coach Cal in a game of horse?
Horse.
I'm an amazing horse player because I know all these trick shots. But Coach Cal, though, he would cheat in horse. He would be like, no, I'm not calling him a cheater. I'm just saying that he would.
But you just called him a cheater.
He'd be like, you put your left. He'd have all these trick shots that only he knows on the floor there in Lexington.
Yeah, that he learned at UMass. And,
oh
yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm not sure. Maybe if we had an official to judge there.
Mark Emmert.
Yeah. If we had somebody there to monitor the situation, then I could take him in horse. If it was like no holds barred, I'd be nervous.
All right, well, stick around. The boss is going to get sophisticated, and Fritzy talks about Ted Williams' inning. Welcome back to the Box Score. Dan was telling you guys he finally saw that controversial movie, The Interview. Have any of you other guys had a chance to see it? Maybe Seton?
No, and no offense to those fellas, I'm not even remotely interested in seeing the movie either. I like both of them as actors, and I think they're generally funny. But I honestly just, even when the whole North Korea thing was going on, I'm like, eh.
And you're a huge fan of the North Korea comedic genre.
I am. Yeah. That's really
it's odd that you would pass on this.
Right. Well, hey.
Well, he has an artistic taste. Well, after the review of The Interview, Dan took a left turn, talked about Jameis Winston declaring for the draft, and then took another sharp left turn back into the world of movie.
You know, a movie I watched last night? I watched two movies. Tim's Vermeer. Vermeer is one of the great painters of all time. He thinks Vermeer used mirrors to help him paint, 350 years ago, this painting. And could always go back to The Interview. And then Seth Rogen said...
it's just funny when you threw out this supposedly famous painter's name, all four of your guys just had blank looks.
McLevin, you've heard of Vermeer.
Of course.
You've seen the girl with the pearl earrings?
I studied it in college.
All right, here's the thing. If Dan throws a painter at me, I have heard of Vermeer, and I know about the girl with the earrings. But I will always say yes, no matter what the situation is, because Dan usually will not follow up question with me.
Okay, now, later on in the show, we sort of revisited this topic of the painter in a look-in, right? And you were like, oh, well, of course you have to start with the Dutch foursome or whatever. Right. Did you research all of this stuff between the time
I did a poll question. I had to say, who was your favorite Dutch painter? And I knew Rembrandt was Dutch, but that's about it. So I knew Rembrandt, Van Gogh, Vermeer. I didn't know Vermeer was, I kind of knew he was Dutch. Then I needed a fourth one, so I researched. Then he threw Kara Walters, and he said Carol Walters. He messed up the name.
The Yukon Center?
No, this is this woman who had this very big New York exhibit. Did you guys hear the Domino Sugar?
Carol Walters is a great center for Yukon. Kind of serviceable, low post skills, and a good broadcaster. I've seen her on TV.
But Dan, though, like I pay attention to the art community because that's really the only reason Dan keeps me around here, is he thinks that I can because he's got like a museum play side about him.
Oh, big time.
So he loves to engage us in that stuff. And, and then Rich ruined the whole thing almost by saying, he's like, oh, so you want to talk about Vermeer and the Impressionists? Rich Eisen, come on. Impressionists.
He's in over
That was 200 years later, dude.
Yeah, no kidding. You guys spent some time trying to get back on the normal topics, and that's when Fritzy came to save the day.
Fritzy, why are you sending me Ted Williams condoms up for auction?
I thought you'd be fascinated by that.
Well,
and isn't there an expiration date on these things?
Well, he is called a Splendid Splinter.
That could be painful.
So they have a box of condoms featuring Ted Williams, and they're up for auction. And the condoms are called Champ.
And I think they're upside down, which is weird. So I don't even know how you put those on in the first place.
Oh, is that the cryogenics
that's
there?
Little Arizona.
Wow.
That's a little harsh.
I'm gonna be upside down. Let me tell you what's going on here for you at home. It come to my attention. I've always known this, but it's been confirmed to me that Fritzy sends out odd little quirky stories just to Dan during the show and leaves us out of it often, so he can make a joke that he has planned. Usually not a good joke, planned with this pithy little story. And so, see, am I right here? Do you think he sent this story because he knew he had a one-liner to go with it?
I think that Todd sent that story to Dan because he had that joke ready to go. Yes,
right.
I don't get the joke, by the way. Is it that obvious?
Cryogenics, Ted Williams hung upside down. There's some type of thing.
Why do they hang you upside down to do that?
They hang you upside down and cry.
And I don't even know that that's
laying down, actually.
I don't even know
would
that
you
that's
be
a fact.
flat on a slab?
But, that's, shots at Ted Williams, those don't usually.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, that's unnecessary. McLovin, is there an athlete out there that you would buy a brand of condoms from?
Well, most of what I know about athletes is they have many kids in many states, so that's really not the profession I'm turning to for my condoms. Maybe
not Sean Kemp.
Yeah, like I don't think many athletes are going to be out there selling condoms. The rare one that does, maybe AC Green.
Pick up these Cromarties, and they just don't work at all.
Yeah. Right. It looks like a colander, a pasta colander, just holes everywhere.
It's just a box of air. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Sean Kemp. Buy my mesh condoms. Okay, stick around.
Yeah.
We're talking baseball, Hall of Fame baseball. But first, here's another look at Paulie hitting the wrong sound effect during that now infamous artist discussion.
Wasn't it Van Gogh? Didn't that's how they pronounce Van Gogh? Was Van Gogh? I do believe Van Gogh was murdered.
Really?
Yeah. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I think Paulie hit the wrong.
Yeah, you hit the wrong one. Van Gogh murdered.
Whose hair would you want of these incoming Hall of Famers? Randy Johnson with the 100-mile-an-hour left-handed I'll take a bird down mullet.
Oulee.
You got Pedro Martinez with his Coming to America Jerry curl. Soul Glow. Or
with activator?
Yes. Or John Smoltz.
Oh, I'm going Moulet.
Yeah.
That's eastbound and down there, man.
We are back here on the box score. The boss not messing around. He's saying he's going Moulet all the way. How about you guys? Paulie, are you going to go with the Kentucky mud flap?
You got to. It gives you options. I mean, Pedro, you know what? Pedro, I kind of like a Jerry curl. It's probably easy maintenance. But the mullet, depending on how good you are at your job, you can get away with a mullet.
I think I didn't go full mullet in 1991 per se, but I wasn't far off. I mean, that was pretty much it. Everybody had a party in the back.
I'll jump in with you on this because I was also in that late 80s, early 90s possible mullet stage and wasn't considered a mullet. It was considered the Rob Lowe, who's now almost an employee of DirecTV. When Rob Lowe was in that movie, St. Elmo's Fire, it wasn't a mullet. It was like a swoopy, power, feathered
but
hair
it had
back.
such a great flip almost or something like.
But you got to be careful because that can easily transform into a Dog the Bounty Hunter, and you don't want that. So, like Rob Lowe, Rob Lowe could pull it off. Not everyone can.
That's right.
I actually feel like I almost had a mullet sometime in the early 2000s. I just decided to stop cutting my hair, and it turns out that this part, it seems, grows way faster.
Right.
And my coworkers were sort of like, so, what's going on with the head there, huh?
The head.
And eventually I cut it, and like 15 people were like, thank God you finally cut your hair. That was awful.
We should make it a deal. We should should we tell each other when we have really bad hair? We haven't really done, no one's done anything that risky here. Now, personally, in the old days, I would have never told someone and let them just work it out on national TV.
Now that your soul is completely diminished, you would have no problem.
As I'm closer to death, I'm thinking about these things.
It's such a shame that we don't have digital photography back in those days because there aren't a lot of pictures of our really wild haircuts.
I have a picture I've mentioned before. I'm sitting on my Corvette, T-tops red, and got my arms folded like this. I have a Kansas Jayhawks script hat on, like they wore in the movie Colors.
Yeah, dude, I remember.
And my hair is over the top of my polo rugby, and I'm wearing polo cologne. You can see in the picture I'm wearing polo cologne.
That was for
if I could ever find this picture, my mother has it. She swears she has it. She's got to search the house up and down. It is.
That sounds like a winner.
It's a winner chicken dinner.
It was 2006, by
Get
the way.
the I-team on that. Well, one man at Rock the Mullet, Randy Johnson, heading in. Well, we hope you beefed up on your knowledge on the entire class because we're going to give you a little pop quiz on the 4 bust heading to Cooperstown. But it is every man for himself today since we are down Fritzy. And unlike baseball, there are no steals. First one is to you, Paulie. The big unit, Randy Johnson, made his major league debut pitching for which National League club?
The Montreal Expos.
You are absolutely correct. September 15th, 1988 up north. McLovin, you are next. In what season did John Smoltz lead the majors with 55 saves, closing for the Atlanta Braves?
Wow, what year was that?
No steals?
Okay, let's see. What year was...
I got this.
Toward the end of the Braves.
Well, he was Cy Young in 96?
Yeah, it was much later than that. I think it was
so it had to have been, and it was, it started.
Broccoli, are there steals in this?
Yep.
Let's see.
Yeah, sure. If you
I would
got
say
this, Paulie,
2000... I'll say 2003 is my guess.
I would like to steal, and McLovin, I think you either got it or you're 1 year over. I think it's 02.
Paulie is right. It is 2002. And he just beat out Dodgers closer Eric Gagne. That's pretty solid. It's your turn, Seton. Which Major League Baseball team did Pedro Martinez win his first Cy Young Award with?
I didn't even know he existed before the Red Sox.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know.
What band did David Grohl play with prior to?
Royal? No, I don't know.
Steelsies?
Steal away.
I'm going to try, and I think it's again your Montreal Expos.
It is the Expos once again, yes. without
Wow, they
his
could
soul
have had a
glow
really
there.
good team up there, huh?
High and tight for Pedro. Last one, and everyone gets a guess here. We'll start with Seton, then go to his left. Craig Biggio has never hit more than 30 home runs in a season, but how many times has he hit 20 or more dingers?
13.
I'll say 8.
I'll say 6.
McLovin, dead on. It is 8. 8 times he hit 20 or more. Congratulations, though. Paulie walks away with the bus going to Cooperstown or in the man cave. Stay with us. Dan teaches his good friend Rich Eisen's son Xander about the birds and the bees.
This Sony 4K TV, it is good. 70 inches of manhood right there. That's what that TV is. That's the Ron Jeremy of TVs right there.
Oh, goodness.
We are closing up shop here on the box score. Dan Patrick is one of the best when it comes to live reads, but his description of the new Sony 4K TV left his good buddy Rich Eisen in a bit of an odd position.
Suze was listening to you, Uncle Dan, and Zan and Coop were listening as well. They just heard your live read for that television.
Oh, the Sony 4K.
You called it, you called it 70 inches of manhood.
Yes.
And Xander turned to Suze and said, what does Uncle Dan mean by 70 inches of manhood? So, Dan, you have the floor.
Okay, it's 70-inch TV. And it's
okay.
So it's man cave worthy. It's just
okay.
I mean, I can sit him down if you'd like me to. When I would you like me to talk to your son?
Time with Uncle Dan.
Yeah, there's so much going on there in that live read that at a certain point, Paul leaned over and whispered to me, "Good luck with that one." And,
explain why. What you have to do.
That was extremely accurate. Well, because what we do is these are part of sales, and we have to send what we call air checks to the client so they can hear the read and see how they're going and listen to them and make any tweaks that they may want to, if they find necessary, to copy, things of that nature. Make sure that their message is being delivered in the way that they want. And I'm not sure that our good friends at Sony saw this one coming. This way, but it's a start. It's a start.
But I'll tell you something. We've been doing this a long time. Seton and I, everyone here. You never know what a client will love. Like sometimes we'll do a live read like that was awful, and they'll come back and say more of that, more of that. Seton and I did a live read for a product a couple months ago, and he and I did this over the top like US 30 drag strip coming at you. That's it. They loved it. Everyone thought it was funny, and we thought like, oh, we're probably gonna get in trouble for this, and they absolutely loved it. So you try to cut loose, have fun with it because it's better than being stale, I guess. And most clients, I think, like the energy or like something unique that makes it come off the page a little bit.
Right.
You never know what people are going to take exception to. Rich Eisen also took exception to this graphic that they used to promote his show. McLovin, you've had your share of beef with our graphics department. Any tips for Rich on how to take them on?
There's no reason to fight them. They're all powerful. They have the final say. I mean, mostly my problem is their inaccuracy, their laziness. But listen, you don't want to point any of that out because they'll just have a bad picture of you in a graphic. They'll just sneak it in there.
That is sort of the their favorite pastime. It seems like is let me find the worst picture possible of this person, and that's the one that we're gonna go with.
Usually they're
and so far it's worked well, and they do that pretty much. I'm gonna go 99% of the time. So
well, you got to take it. Sometimes they're too drunk and lazy to actually find the bad pictures.
Well, this time I'm gonna go off script and say actually the graphics guys did a good job. They found something entertaining to put on the air with Rich Eisen's photo and kind of made a good segment out of it.
That's the first time graphics guys and entertaining has ever been put together, by the way.
Right. If you've met them, they're boring.
Just kidding, okay? It's a joke.
Oh, Super Bowl week.
A proper coupling. Paulie, who is on tomorrow, please?
We got a number of guests tomorrow. We have Urban Horatio Meyer. He's a father of 9, and he's a college graduate. He also coaches the Ohio State University. Kurt Warner, former Barnstormer, former Ram, current father. He owns 3 cars, and he'll be on the show tomorrow.
Fantastic.
one of
Look
those.
forward to it.
At least
Thank you,
he's-
gentlemen.
yeah.
Have a great day, and thank you for watching The Box Score. We'll be back tomorrow at same time, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on Audience Channel 239. If you're on the go, the podcast is available on iTunes or at podcastone.com. Cheers, John, California.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching The Box Score. Holy cow!